You know what's funny is I'm probably on our team. I'm like the least AI forward member of the team because we've actually seen, number one, there's a lot of hype, and it's really important to apply discernment to sort of pick apart what is real from what is hype. Um, but the other reason is um, we've worked with people in the past who are like they're full on AI coding, and initially there's an appeal to that because they can promise the moon and they can run at the speed of light. And you're like, whoa, the turnaround is incredible and the productivity is amazing. And you kind of start to love it. Very quickly, building complex systems like this, people like that, we realized they would move so fast because AI was building for them, but they didn't understand what was being built. They were generating so much. And when we would ask them on demo calls and product review sessions, well, dig into the data science. How is this working? How are you labeling that piece of data? How is the database organized? Really fine-grained stuff that speaks to quality under the surface. They didn't know. Us, open goes deep. It's the full stack. It's not only, Android open, which is just elements of software, but it's hardware, it's firmware, and it's software. It's the full stack of technologies. And you'll find all of that stuff from mechanical STL files to optical files to PCB schematics and layout to the firmware, which drives the device, to, of course, the software side. So we think of open as it's much deeper. It's a lot more consequential, we think, than a lot of what we see out there today, or a lot of what we have seen over the last decade or two. And we think that ought to be. And the reason principally is because principally it's the right thing to do. That the world is undergoing a shift in some of the fundamental technologies of our lives, and that means computing. And we think that in a world where just like literacy exploded over the last couple of centuries, we think over the next number of years, more and more people are going to be able to create technology, not just be passive recipients of technology. And so the companies like ours building computing experiences ought to make it open so that people can create on top. It's really, the not so secret at this point in 2025 is that, between the gains we're seeing in natural language programming or vibe coding and an open source computing platform like ours, the math there just means that people's creativity has a new place to live.
Full stack open source, not just the SDK, STL files, specs, firmware, everything. Most companies that claim open source mean their API is documented, maybe some client libraries on GitHub. Brilliant Labs publishes the hardware designs. You can manufacture Halo yourself if you want. And why does this matter? Two reasons. First, trust. When you're building AI glasses that capture the audio and the video, privacy, it's not a feature. It's got to be architecture. And open source means that architecture is auditable. And secondly, creativity. AI inside open hardware means a much wider developer base, not just software engineers, hardware tinkerers, industrial designers, anybody who can prompt an LLM.
As a business decision, the thing that really drives it for us is the principle of it. It's just we feel it's the right thing to do. As a business decision, and there is a business case to be made, we believe, it galvanizes people. You can build community around your company. I think people, they're gravitated to that sense of generosity, that we're not just the next group of people looking to make a thing, hug it tightly with our arms so no one else can see what it is as a black box, and try to sell as many as we can to other people. I think people are sort of tired of that old way of working. And I think they gravitate to openness, generosity, a community, collaborative vibe to what you do and who you are. So we think that has paid dividends and will continue to sort of be a cumulative asset of our brand.
A lot of hardware companies see their designs as competitive moats. Protect the IP, patent everything, keep competitors from copying you. But Brilliant Labs is doing the opposite. It's publishing everything, it's inviting people to learn from it, and is trying to build that community. Why? Well, because they're a team of fewer than 10 people competing against Meta and Apple. They can't afford to outspend. They're going to win by galvanizing a community, by learning from thousands of developers. Open in AI seems like such an opportunity right now.
On the, another example perhaps is on the software side of things, that there's never this notion of a neat segmentation of people, oh, I only touch cloud. I don't think about firmware. But in fact, our teams not only are closely collaborating with each other, but cloud folks are briefed intimately on the details of firmware requirements and constraints and vice versa, because it's only then that you can do an end-to-end sort of vertically integrated stack. And so, we try to do a few things like that to break down barriers and get people always close to sort of the upstream or the downstream source material. And then, of course, all of us are benefiting from increased productivity from AI. So all of our software developers now, they use AI to sort of 10x their work productivity-wise. But that's something available to all of us. We sort of quickly learned that we needed to assess people who were so comfortable digging into thinking through their own human mind, how something ought to work under the surface, and mapping that out before they employ a powerful, AI coding agent to then help them build it brick by brick. People who just say, at the top level, oh, this thing would be so cool, let's build it, and let AI fill in all the gaps. Their knowledge was too shallow, and we realized very quickly how to discern those folks from the real builders.
In 2025, everybody wanted AI native developers, people who could prompt LLMs, who could generate that code really fast. Velocity was the metric. But in 2026, the smart teams are asking different questions. Can you explain the system architecture? Can you debug the code that AI has generated? Can you evaluate the trade-offs that it wants to make? The technical interview used to be, write this algorithm on the whiteboard. Now it's, here's some code generated by AI, explain what it does wrong and how you'd fix it, even if you'd fix it with AI. AI code is incredible. The productivity gains are real, only if you understand what you're building.